just just shedding the past,
Hmm.
getting rid of all the things that hold you back, hold you down, uh, taking stock.
Hmm.
You know, a lot of times in life we have to stop and take stock of things.
Yeah.
What's necessary? What isn't?
Hmm.
Um, how can our lives be improved?
Yeah.
And so that's what that represents.
Well, I mean, please don't tell me that I have to like close like some of my 75 tabs that are open right now. No, I don't
That's
have to, right?
okay, because I do as well.
Okay, good. Thank you. Because that's a step too far, you know. That's too much. All right, all right, thank you. Um, so as we get kind of closer towards the end, I'm gonna avoid, the plot spoilers and such, but there's Alejandra is really coming into her own and feels like I gotta face these curses head on,
Mhm.
right? You gotta face this generational trauma, these curses. That's the only way to stop them. Obviously they've continued since 1521 into the modern day. Um, with that on the, Matthew feels alienated or alienates himself. Kathy like stays with the family for a while. He's not friendly or welcoming at all. He's I wonder what kind of how you drew him as a character, so to speak, like how you crafted him. He's not a terrible guy. He doesn't commit domestic violence. He's not
Yeah.
outwardly mean or horrific, but he's not what she needs, to say the least. He's not helpful. He's not therapy for her. I wonder kind of how you thought of drawing that character.
All my worst relationships.
Okay.
Easy.
Period. All right. Okay, I got you. All right.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah.
wonder, so we also have one of the last chapters is Flor, who again she was introduced in the epigraph. She's during the time of the Mexican Revolution. She's basically married off to an older guy who's, I guess, very much like Matthew, right?
Yeah.
Um, right? He's
Yeah.
he doesn't seem to be a terrible guy, but he's only 3 years older, but he just kind of hobbles around, and there's no love after, they have their initial fling or whatever, or their initial, honeymoon period, like they say. But there's no love, there's no warmth there,
Yep.
which is what Florida and anyone needs.
Yep.
He eventually dies with like a horse, like a
Yep.
falling off a horse.
Hmm.
What is I wonder about her decision and what it says about her, and the patterns of like the women in the bloodline, like sacrifice, um and hoping for a better future for her kids, for the next generations.
Yeah. It's having the time and the awareness to kind of get to know yourself enough. So in Flora's situation, in that time it was an arranged marriage, which a
Right.
lot of previous generations experienced. So it was an arranged marriage. There was not much she could really do.
They didn't meet on Match.com or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. um, and and so, you know, as she gets older, she finds out more about herself, and she comes into her own, and that's why she has this other love affair, after her husband's dead,
Hmm.
um, doing something she's passionate about.
Yeah.
And they share a passion and a love that's found. Um, and same with the other women, it takes time to know yourself and to know who you are and know what you want and have the courage to be that.
Hmm.
And that's what I kind of wanted to say.
Yeah. um again, trying to avoid stepping on some of these plot spoilers here, I
That's
guess.
okay.
Well,
No, don't spoil it. People have to go buy it.
no, exactly. No, definitely. That's foremost in my mind, for sure, for sure. Um, so I wonder about like how you were. We talked about it a little bit, but you were so deftly able to really talk about generational trauma and about the strength of women, which could come off as so like patronizing and like lip service, like, oh, women are so strong, they always have been, but they always are and always have been, and we see it through these members of the family. But I just wonder how you're able to really kind of lightly paint this story of finding ways to end, to stop, to cease with generational trauma without it being, hitting the reader over the head with it.
Um, Again, it just comes back to being your authentic self, um, knowing yourself, and living that every day, and encouraging others to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like it says in the beginning, you don't have to be what previous generations say you have to be.
Hmm.
There are other ways of living, of thinking, of being, of different faiths. And so I just wanted it to come naturally. I just wanted it to be a slow evolution, an organic evolution, because
Mm-hmm.
that's how we change. That's how we evolve. That's how we grow and become more self-aware, is just through experience and time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's kind of how I
Well,
approach.
oh, so I mean, it's so cool. You talk about like passing on the next generation, learning, and I just love how Melanie, for example, is like she's someone who's had a lot of trauma, and she really takes pride in the fact that she's able to like pay it forward. Sounds so cheesy, but like really
Yeah.
pay it forward,
No, it's true. Yes.
right? And then
Yeah.
well, and it's the same idea too. It's like if I'm who am I gonna be feel more comfortable with, somebody who has experienced thing A, or somebody who's just written about it or read about it. Like that's something, but it's like someone like Melanie who has gone through so much in her life. She has the curandera background, and that's what draws Alejandra to her so much.
Yeah.
So the I wonder about like these are such cool characters that you created, such memorable characters. Maybe like you said, a couple are based on real life. I really want to find out more about the life story. Remind me the name of the Mexican general who was a friend to Flor.
Yes. Oh gosh.
Did you use
Look,
this?
I
Did you
wrote
use the
this
real
book.
name? No, I understand. I know. I'm sorry. I
Yes,
put you on the spot.
I did. No, 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 no. I wrote it so long ago. Now I'm like, I did what? Yes. I will tell you now. Emilio Robles Avila.
There you go. There you go.
Emilio Robles.
Love
Yes,
to read more
General
of the
Robles.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, so he lived until he was 98, and
Oh
he
wow.
was decorated, full honors. He was respected um as a fighter, as a soldier.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really great to show,
Huh.
this trans man um in the revolution, uh just being their authentic self.
Yeah. Well, shoot. I mean, if you listen to a lot of people now, they say that just transgenderism just started like 5 years
Mm,
ago, right?
yeah,
Apparently,
exactly.
apparently
You're like,
not, huh?
this was like
Yeah.
a, yeah, during the Mexican Revolution.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just was
Mhm.
kind of like, yep, this is who I am. And he
Hmm.
did it.
So, just in creating new characters, I remember as like a novice writer, I just thought it was the coolest thing ever, like in a college workshop when the other students were talking about my characters, my fictional characters, as if they were real people. That's just, as
Mhm.
cool as it gets, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so you have such memorable characters. I wonder, like, is it possible or helpful or beneficial, like, to not, did you kind of like sit in judgment of any of the characters? Is it hard not to like look at Francis and say, oh my gosh, or is that just like, hey, these are the characters as they're laid out, and that's part of the whole theme of the book is be your authentic self.
Yeah, no, I don't ever look at my characters in judgment. I want them to be people that we've really met.
Hmm.
Some people are great, but they're flawed. Some people are awful. But they are products of their environments, and
Yeah.
they've made bad choices, and they're horrible.
Hmm.
Um, and they do horrible things.
Hmm.
But, you know, that's part of writing a novel, is you show why they are the way they are.
Hmm. Yeah.
Why are they inflicting pain? Why are
Hmm.
they so hurt?
Yeah.
Um, and that's what horror is great at, is kind of bringing a mirror to those darker aspects of life.
Yeah. Well, the book is in some way, in so many ways, is timeless and timely. It's timely because, there's fortunately there's a lot more talk of generational trauma in these more recent years. There's a lot
Mental
more
health.
talk, right? Mental health just in general, right? There's a lot more talk of like, hey, like women cannot be expected to carry all these burdens and just, keep smiling through it. It just
Yeah.
cannot be done, right? It's not realistic, it's not loving. And it's also, timeless with the historical connections and ideas of colonialism and all these things that are so um timeless is the word I keep coming to.
Yeah, and also another thing I wanted to kind of also impress is that if two people, both man and woman, don't want to be parents or see they're fit to be
Hmm.
parents, they shouldn't be forced to by the government to be parents,
Hmm.
as it's a burden on it takes two to tango. It's a burden on both. Um, but and it's important for people to make those decisions personally
Hmm.
because it's such a big deal to be a parent. That right should only be reserved for the people involved.
And of course there are some beautiful scenes with her and her kids, with Kathy as she gets to
Mhm.
know her daughter better and vice versa, with Katrina, with Will, with Elodia.
Yep.
There's beautiful moments that really, those of us who are parents and those who are not can really enjoy and appreciate.
Yeah.
I know, like you said, the book was finished almost 3 years ago, and so I know you've worked on multiple projects since.
Yes,
Any-
I am.
Anything that you want to share that you're working on now?
Yeah, so I'm finishing up the books for the Netflix film Rebel Moon, which can be, yeah,
Oh,
that's science fiction. Yeah, that can be pre-ordered now. I am putting together a kind of, a pitch for another novel,
cool.
which will be crime and
Ah,
dark crime. Uh, Polishing up my and get pulling together my erotic horror collection that's going to be with I can't say. I
uh,
almost said it hasn't been announced yet. And just short stories. Yeah, just, on the hustle, just getting stuff out there, getting it done.
yeah. Well, so I'm not so familiar with Rebel Moon, but I look it up and it's an
Yeah.
upcoming American epic space opera film directed by Zack Snyder.
Yep, yep. So if people love science fiction, if they love
Mhm.
Star Wars, if they enjoyed what I wrote for Aliens Vasquez, definitely
Yeah,
order it. Yeah.
very cool. Well, it's so cool to talk to somebody who is incredibly prolific, but also the quality and the quantity is there. The quality is there for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congrats on continuing with this great work, and I wish you great luck in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was great to talk about it. I love talking books.
Right? Same. Pleasure to talk to you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for everybody tuning in.